Today we're taking a look at these college football matches, which are happening on Tuesday, December 27, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. Also, check out our perks and join the High Stakes membership. Joining the High Stakes membership is easy, is cheap, but it will help a lot in the growth process of this channel. Plus check out our Patreon in the link down below if you want access for our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation, so make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comment section below. Georgia Southern Eagles vs Buffalo Bulls. The Georgia Southern Eagles head into this matchup 6-6 for this year. In their last contest, the Eagles stepped onto the field against the Appalachian State Mountaineers and walked away with a win by a score of 51-48. A.J. Brown was the best rusher for the Eagles with 14 totes for 62 yards, 4.4 yards per carry. Kyle Vantris connected on 34 51sts with 385 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. He had a QB rating of 145.6 and finished the game with 1 pick. On the ground, the Eagles conceded 376 yards on 48 attempts, which averages out to 7.8 yards per run allowed. Georgia Southern allowed 15 completions on 26 attempts for a total of 253 yards and a completion rate of 57.7%. For the game, they ran 77 plays which totaled 487 yards. The Georgia Southern Eagles ran the ball 26 different times and amassed 102 yards, earning them an average of 3.9 yards per tote. Regarding putting the ball in the end zone, the Georgia Southern Eagles are averaging 33.7 ppg. As a team they average 140.8 yards on the ground, which is 83rd in Division I. The Eagles have earned 5,618 total yards for the season. With reference to getting the ball in the end zone, Georgia Southern has compiled 26 touchdowns through the air and 23 touchdowns via the ground. Georgia Southern has accumulated 305 first downs offensively, and they have committed 60 penalties for 550 yards. They have given the ball to the opposition 19 times. When it comes to passing yards, the Eagles are allowing 3,074 yards, which ranks them 101st in college football. They have allowed 256.2 yards per contest through the air and giving up a completion percentage of 59.0%. In total, they are allowing 496.1 yards per outing, which has them sitting 129th in the nation. They have relinquished 18 touchdowns through the air, in addition to 28 touchdowns via the ground game. Opposing teams are running for an average of 5.8 yards per rush and 239.9 yards on the ground per game this year. During this campaign, they have given up 2,879 running yards through 12 games. The Eagles are ranked 112th in the nation regarding the opposition scoring, conceding 32.3 ppg. The Eagles love to pick up the pace, and I'm expecting their offense to make the difference. Kyle Vantris will be keen to dominate his former team. Georgia Southern's receiving corps possesses great depth, and the Eagles' backfield racks up 4.8 yards per carry. Georgia Southern's defense is a mess, allowing 5.8 yards per carry, but the Bulls will be in big trouble if Ron Cook Jr. doesn't suit up. Buffalo surrenders 5.0 yards per rush and will struggle to contain the Eagles' dynamic offense. The Bulls are 1-4 at TS in their last 5 outings and 1-3 at S in their previous 4 showings, as underdogs of 3.5 or fewer points. On the other side, the Eagles have covered in their last 2 outings as favorites of 3.5 or fewer points. Our first pick ice Georgia Southern Eagles minus 3.5 points. The Bulls come into this matchup with a record of 6-6 for this season. In their last game, the Bulls took home the win by a final score of 23-22 when they played the Akron Zips. Mark Scott ran the ball 4 times for 19 yards, ending the contest with 4.8 yards per carry for Buffalo. Cole Snyder, 3 touchdowns, walked away from the contest with 264 yards on 23 43rds passing, while his quarterback rating was 123.4. He had 1 pick, and his YA was 6.1. Buffalo gave up 25 run attempts for 52 yards, 2.1 yards per rush. The Bulls' pass defense allowed a completion rate of 61.7%, relinquishing 254 yards on 29 out of 47 passing. The Bulls finished the game with 291 yards, while they ran 70 plays, 4.2 yards per play. Buffalo ran for 1.0 yards per carry, totaling 27 yards on 26 carries. The Eagles snapped a 3-game skid in their final appearance of the 2022 regular season. During that stretch, Georgia Southern lost to South Alabama 38-31, Louisiana 36-17, and Marshall 23-10. The Eagles went 2-2 in October and 3-1 in September. They finished the regular season 30th in the nation in points scored, 33.7 per game, and 112th in points allowed, 32.3. After spending 5 years with the Buffalo Bulls, senior QB Kyle Vantris led the way for Georgia Southern in 2022. He tossed for 3,895 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions, while completing 61.3% of his passing attempts. Vantris threw for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns in that wild game against Appalachian State and had 578 yards and 4 TD passes in a 45-38 victory over then number 25 James Madison in Week 7. Junior RB Jalen White enjoyed a breakthrough season, racking up 1,132 yards from scrimmage and 11 touchdowns, while averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Senior wideouts Caleb Hood and Jeremy Singleton combined for 1,602 yards and 5 touchdowns, while sophomore W.R. Derwin Burgess Jr. and senior W.R. Amare Jones scored 6 touchdowns apiece. After a disappointing 2021 campaign, Georgia Southern returned to the bowl season in its first year under head coach Clay Helton. The Eagles are 3-1 in their previous 4 bowl games. Back in 2020, they trounced Louisiana Tech 38-3 in the New Orleans Bowl. The Buffalo Bulls have an average of 376.4 yards per contest, which has them ranked 78th in D1. The Buffalo offense has compiled 635 yards of penalties on 70 violations, which has them sitting 79th in D1 in terms of helping out the other team. For the season so far, the Bulls currently sit at 2,794 yards via the pass, as well as holding an average of 232.8 passing yards per outing, which is ranked 62nd in Division I. In terms of how much they score, the Bulls are sitting 63rd in the nation, maintaining an average of 29.0 ppg. Buffalo has allowed a total of 2,096 rushing yards, 174.7 yards per outing, and 23 touchdowns via the rush for the year. They have conceded 17 touchdowns through the air and 216.2 yards per game, which has them sitting 54th in college football. The Bulls' defense has been on the field for 781 plays, which ranks 31st in D1. The Bulls are giving up 27.2 points per game, ranking them 74th in D1. This year, they have relinquished 326 PTS. This total has jumped 2.5 points since the game became public, so people are betting on points to be flying onto the board in this game. However, this feels a little too high right now. Both of these teams struggle against the running game, so the clock is going to be consistently clicking down and have a lot less total plays being called. These offenses as of late have not been putting up anywhere near enough points, as Georgia Southern are averaging 26 points in their last 3 games, while Buffalo is scoring 25.3 points in their previous 4 games. The under has hit in the last 4 neutral site games for the Eagles, as well as in 4 of the previous 5 Bulls games played in December, so take the under in this matchup. Our second pick is under 66.5 points.